Hello and welcome to the F1Stop show. I am your host Sam Oni, and this is episode 6. Now, I am very sorry for technical issues because, well, I've got no camera. So you'll just have to deal with my lovely, lovely voice today, this evening. With me is Wes Spearman, who has his camera with him. How are you, Wes?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, I've been missing F1. It's been 3 weeks since since the last Grand Prix in Australia, but yeah, we're back in Baku, and hopefully things will be a bit more exciting than they were last year. 'Cause, yeah, just going over sort of race notes from last year, there wasn't much action compared to what we've previously seen in Baku. But yeah, I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. You know, happy that F1 is back. Although I can't say I'm happy about the changes that they've made in the last 3 weeks, well, in the last day or so. But Baku, the land of the streets. Um, what are your favorite memories of Baku, if you have any?
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, given Baku's 6, 7 year history, so relatively recent. Um, it's been a bit hit and miss. I think uh, a few years certainly more memorable than others. Remember, obviously 2021, you had I think it was the two tyre blowouts with Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen back down the main straight, which is quite scary. I'm not sure I'd want to have a tyre blowout going 200 mile an hour on a narrow street circuit as well. So you had the race restart where Hamilton locked up, went straight on at the first corner, and I think Perez won that one with what was Vettel and Gasly. Were they the other two on the podium? I can't quite remember now.
And
Um,
who was in fourth place that that year?
in 21, I can't remember.
Yeah,
I've just looked it up as well.
and who
um,
was in fourth place?
do you know what? I can't remember now. I've just
Lando
looked it up.
Norris of McLaren.
Was it actually? Oh wow.
It was actually Lando Norris of McLaren. Yeah, he was close to getting a podium, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he
Um,
got two podiums that year as well, Lando Norris. I think I can't remember now. That wasn't the year where he bottled the Russian Grand Prix victory, was it?
in the rain. Oh my goodness. Lando,
Yeah,
Lando, Lando.
bad time. Yeah. Anyway, back to Baku. Um, yeah, I think 2021 is pretty memorable. You've got other memorable moments of Vettel ramming into the side of Hamilton under safety car.
Yeah,
Bit of a weird one, that one.
that
And then
stuck
you had the
with
two
me.
Red Bulls crashing and going into turn one as well. Which I can't quite remember what year that was. I think the Vettel one was 17. He was still at Ferrari. And the two Red Bulls probably been 18 actually. Come to think of it, I can't remember when Ricardo left Red Bull now, but yeah, certainly a few memorable moments of it at Baku. Just a bit of a shame none of them were were last year.
That's right. Um, and something that you've mentioned in the past about Baku is that this is quite a special one because no F1 driver has won Baku more than once. So we've had we've had the Azerbaijan Grand Prix since what 2016, I want to say.
16, yeah, was the first one. Officially called a European Grand Prix, but it's same track, same country. So
So so in that 6 7 year period, we've had 6 or 7 different driver winners, and well, Max Verstappen won the most recent one. Question marks whether he will do it again or we'll get a whole new winner.
imagine if Fernando Alonso wins this weekend.
Wow.
Well, first race win. I can't remember what race win it will be for him. 30 something, I think. Um, yeah,
34.
continue. I know it's mid 30s. Yeah. Yeah, 7 Grand Prix in Azerbaijan, and still no one's won it more than once. I'm fairly confident Verstappen will win it. Although Perez does like a street circuit, doesn't he?
He
He's got
does.
wins in Singapore and Monaco now with Red Bull. Um, but yeah, previous winner, I think Rosberg won it 2016, 17 Ricardo, 18 Hamilton, 19 Bottas, 21 Perez, and obviously last year Max Verstappen. I'm pretty sure Verstappen will win again this year just because the sheer pace of the Red Bull, and obviously Verstappen is a class driver as we know. It's just a case of who will complete that podium. As we mentioned, Baku's thrown up a few hiccups, if you like. I think there was one year where I can't quite remember which year this was. I think it might have been when Ricardo won it in 17. We had Bottas and Stroll, almost like a drag race for that final spot, or for P2 actually. I think it was Ricardo, Bottas, and Stroll by like a tenth of a second or something separating Bottas and Stroll. Um, I remember Ricardo doing a show with Stroll when he was like 17 or something. um, but I'm not sure whether that will happen this year, but we can only hope. We can dream.
So, Azerbaijan, how do you see the race unfolding? What are your predictions for the race? Who's gonna let's see, who's gonna be your driver of the day? Your top five, your top five race finishers, and who's gonna qualify on pole?
I'm going to go driver of the day, George Russell. Um, I know Mercedes haven't been that quick this year, but I mean, if he starts midfield and what was sort of middle of the top 10, if you like, get us up into a podium, maybe even a race win. Who knows? Can see him getting driver of the day. Pole position has got to be Verstappen, hasn't it? Really, realistically, um, quickest car, arguably the quickest driver as well. Um, Top five, I'm going to go Sainz P5, Leclerc P4, uh, mm, Russell P3, Alonso P2, Verstappen P1. And I've left out Perez and Hamilton in that.
Oh, oh,
I
oh.
want Ferrari to have a decent weekend, but I don't think they'll be that decent to get on the podium. And I can sort of see them edging out one of the Mercedes.
So, are
Um,
you saying your pole sitter and your race winner are the same person?
yeah, both Verstappen. Yeah,
Interesting, interesting. Well, I might disagree with you on that there. I think my driver of the day will be, given a street circuit. Uh, I think my driver of the day will be a. Hmm. I'm gonna go Lance Stroll. Yeah, I think Lance Stroll. He's finished in the top 10 at least once this season, hasn't he? Twice.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
at least twice. I think. Yeah.
at least twice. I think. Yeah, I think he'll be a driver of the day. Um, Maybe make up one or two positions. I think he'll finish what? If I had to guess, I'd say eighth, P8. Um, my top five finishers, fifth place. I'm right. Don't take my head for this one, but Hamilton for fifth place. Um, Mercedes are, they're improving, but they're not, you know, toe to toe with Red Bull as we know. Red Bull are just miles ahead. Um, Fourth, I'm gonna say, hmm, I'm gonna say Carlos Sainz. Third, Perez. Perez for third. Second, Max Verstappen. Yeah, Max Verstappen. And then first place, Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso to win in Baku. Yeah, Fernando Alonso to win in Baku. However, Charles Leclerc is gonna get pole. Now that's a gamble. That's a gamble there. So Charles Leclerc will get pole, but Fernando Alonso will win the race. I think if Alonso wins the race, it could it could it could be a quite a good season for the Aston Martin team. A very good season.
I mean, I think everyone would love to see an Alonso win. At the very least, an Alonso podium. Yeah, if he can get that, whatever, 33rd, 34th career win, then that would just be brilliant. And yeah, to beat the Red Bulls, Ferraris, and Mercedes at it as well, for a team that has completely overturned their fortunes from last year. Um, yeah, I think that'll be. It's just a great story. We can dream, can't we, of an Alonso victory again?
Of course. So, in other news, in the last day or two, excuse me, we've had F1 introduce some new rules about the sprint racing. So, this, from what I've gathered, sprint on Fridays, so tomorrow, no, sorry, Friday. Today's not Friday, today's Wednesday. Sorry. Yeah, Friday we'll have FP1 and then normal Grand Prix qualifying. So the regular Saturday qualifying that everyone gets excited for, that determines the main grid for Sunday, will be moved to Friday. And then on Saturday, we'll have FP1 again, but also added with a sprint shootout. So it's a short race like we had last year, but this sprint race will have no impact whatsoever come Sunday's race. So it will just be a normal sprint race, you know, the first, I think, 100 kilometers or so. But the points still apply with the first eight finishers getting points. And then Sunday's race is the Grand Prix with the grid from Friday being applied. Did I get all of that right?
I think so. Yeah, it's slightly confusing now. Where they've essentially made Saturday sort of a standalone race day, whole sprint day, if you like. Whereas obviously previously the outcome of the sprint race or sprint qualifying has determined the grid for the Sunday Grand Prix, which isn't happening anymore. Yeah, as you mentioned, Friday is now going to see FP1 followed by normal qualifying, which sets the grid for Sunday's race, the main Grand Prix. Then, yeah, as you mentioned, Saturday is going to have almost like a shortened normal qualifying, which I think they're calling the sprint shootout. And obviously followed by a sprint race, 100-kilometer dash, which for me doesn't seem like a sprint when you consider. I think the total length of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, um, 306 kilometers, 51 laps, so it's a third of a race. Is that really a sprint? It's 20 something laps. That seems and about half an hour in terms of time. I mean, compared to a normal Grand Prix, hour and a half, 2 hours, is a third of that really a sprint? I'm not too sure. I'll probably say 10, 15 laps tops, not mid 20s. Um, yeah, obviously still get points for sprint race to top eight, going from eight down to one. Points obviously all being added onto their drivers and constructors tallies. Yeah, the fact that it's now not having any impact whatsoever on Sunday, on the race of Sunday, which is good and bad, I think, because I think we'd all like to see more racing at a weekend rather than cars just practicing, testing out setups, etc.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm not quite sure if this is the way to go about that. Um, I mean, obviously, before the sprint race, it sort of meant something. It set the grid for the main Grand Prix, but now it's just the top eight getting points. They're only a maximum of 8 points anyway. Which, yeah, I mean, as we've seen in 2021, those points can potentially add up to make a difference, especially with six sprint races this season. Um, but now that it is just a race, it's not anything more than that. It's half an hour of a bit of fun. Um, I mean, I'll be interested to see if the drivers and teams risk more now that there's essentially less on the line, if you like. Um, besides the obviously the points, but again, it's only points for top eight.
Yeah.
Um, whereas beforehand, the race actually meant something because it set the grid for the main Grand Prix, where you obviously get more points available. Um, yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not convinced about sprint qualifying, sprint racing anyway. Um, I'll be intrigued to see how it goes. That's all. I think we've got to give it a try before we jump to any conclusions.
Agreed.
Um, but yeah, on reading it and from what I've heard, as you say, in the last day or two, yeah, I'm not utterly convinced that this is the right way to go about things for F1. What do you think?
Um, I agree with you with what you've said. I'm all the same because it all goes back to um, when sprint racing was first introduced, and everyone was having the debate. Oh, is it going to work out? Is it not going to work out? What do you think of it? And me, I think I was pretty much pretty much against it, and I still am because I mean it worked briefly what last year, a couple years ago, because the top eights, and I was there thinking, oh, it gives the midfield teams and the lesser teams more of a chance to take a gamble. The likes of Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, Haas at the time, if you like, Williams to try and get a point or two. But now, when you fast forward what 12 months, 18 months, now they want to introduce these um, new changes. Whereas having a Saturday sprint race that's not going to mean anything. It just it's not working out. And honestly, I'm not really for it. And Baku, I know, is not the first of it's not the first where we're going to have sprint races this season. Like, because you've mentioned before, Austria, Belgium, Qatar, Kota in the USA, and then Brazil. We're gonna we're gonna see a further five more sprint races. So yeah, we just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's all you can really say. Just got to see how it goes this weekend, and I mean, yeah, as you said, there doesn't really seem much point to it now because it is only the top eight that get points, and it is only 8 points. Whereas obviously on a Sunday you have the top 10 get points, and it's 25 for a race win. Um, yeah, just got to see how it goes. Really, that's all we can really do.
Um, what is interesting that I found briefly from these changes in the sprint that I mean, it doesn't really mean anything. I saw that the drivers and teams will have more choice on tires. You know, choosing their tires for FP1 practice and qualifying. Because before you could only like in qualifying if you I think if you like were out of Q2, you could only use the tires in which you started or finished on in Q2 into the race. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure if that rule's still in place now. Actually, yeah, it was slash still is. I'm not 100% sure. Used to be that yeah, if the tyres you set your fastest lap on in Q2, you would then start the race on Sunday. And yeah, for I think this sprint shootout qualifying, as we mentioned, is essentially just a reduced normal qualifying session on Saturday. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the tyres are sort of predetermined now. I think I'm just trying to find it again. In calling it SQ1 and SQ2, you race on or qualify on. I think the mediums, and then SQ3 you start on the softs. Obviously, the softer the tyre, theoretically anyway, the quicker you go. Um, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if, if that rule's in place for sprint qualifying. So I imagine all the teams will want a soft tyre anyway, with it being a sprint. Yeah, I can't remember if that Q2 rule is still in place for the main Grand Prix. I don't think it is anymore. I think
Mm.
F1 cut that out for this year. Um, yeah.
Well, F1 is back, as mentioned. New changes to the sprint races. So let's pose the question to the people. What do you make of these changes? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Where do you stand? And yeah, it just reverts back to the original question from a couple of years ago. Do you think sprint racing works? If you do, then leave a comment. And if you don't, also leave a comment and tell us why. Well, we hope you've enjoyed another episode of F1 Stop Show. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and you can also email us as well at f1stopshow@gmail.com. Baku Street Circuit this weekend. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and it's a goodbye from me. Bye bye. And it's a goodbye from Wes.
Bye bye.
And we hope you enjoy the Azerbaijan Grand Prix this weekend.